Today we're having a look at the 2023 Atlantic Youth Cup Men's 20's semi-final.
Oh, how about that? It's even better.
Count of the man, count of the hour.
That is sensational.
Hello, so today we have the Atlantic Youth Touch Football Cup semi-final in the Men's 20's division between France and South Africa. Two nations that we see as of recent putting a lot of effort into their touch football program, so it's nice to see we get a chance to analyse them on the channel. So that's a first try, looks like to be to France. I think they're going to award this one. Yep, they do. So let's just have a look at that again. Let's go back a little bit. We'll just reverse that so we can see the dump. Okay, so we'll get our pen. This is just a short side quickie. So we got the two middles there. We have a middle and a middle as a defender as well. So we go through the quickie a fair bit, and it's just a dump. What I will say here as far as defense goes, probably don't need two middles up too far. This middle here can probably be back closer to the line, or at least in line with his link. So two middles up making the touch, not needed. It just means that when they do the quickie and they get the ball back, all of a sudden you've got two players offside. So you can see he starts backing up a little bit, which is better, but he needed to be back there. The quicker that you can be onside, the better. And if you're not making the touch, then you don't need to be out on the 7. So you can play it smart there and drop. Once that touch is about to be made, you start dropping a little bit early once it's what we call imminent. So we go to short side. He squares up. As you can see, he runs straight. And all that does now is these defenders square up their body as well. So they start facing straight. And now, once they've done that, see how he's flat-footed? Okay, by running straight, he's squared the defender up going flat-footed, and now he's changed his angle. So it's very subtle, but very effective. A lot of people just see the quickie and they go, oh, he beat him short side. And when they get the ball, all they want to do is run diagonal. So now we have this player here. It's a bit of a man on here, and he'll angle in just off the ball. So you can see this player here is just watching the ball, and the other guy will just angle in the hole. Okay, because he's in two minds now. That link had to come in. The winger is still out there off screen. So he's just hitting that link channel. So some may say he's too wide to start with. I'm okay with that as far as that's how much grass he's left with. It's just a nice hole. But the most important thing about that is after the quickie, you get the ball and you run square. If you can get the ball quick enough where there's less space between you and the defender, it's even better. So we have another short side quickie and a dive this time. Looks like a bit of honesty there from the defender. So South Africa go in. Now what's important here is it's done fairly well. First thing, he's ducked into the dump. Okay, you can see he's bent his body. And the reason we do that is just in case the defender wants to what we call contest the ruck, which means gives you a push off balance. If you can bend forward, all of a sudden you've got the momentum behind you and they won't be able to push you back up or push you backwards. The next thing we do is we step forward. So the dump probably needs to be back on the 7 just to make sure that you're using that space as possible. So when you dump the ball, you move forward and then it's up to the dummy half to actually make sure that passes backwards. So they need to move forward as well. And all of a sudden, both your momentum is still moving towards the line and it just cuts down the time these guys have got to get onside. Okay, as you can see, he's changed his body again to run square at the 82. Okay, and we want the 82 to hesitate. Okay, squared up and then he's just gone for the line. So the 82 probably needed to pull a little bit of a wider corner here. So you can see he's turned around. He's pretty much run directly back to the line rather than running at that angle and protecting that short side. Because these guys here, 1, 2, they're just going to man up with their link and winger. They're not going to worry about this guy. Okay, so the corner that he's pulled is a little bit too narrow. And it just meant that when these guys go to their players, it just creates too much of the space in between the middle and the link there. And it's a nice dive. Very close call. I think the player actually said that he missed him, but he's got the ball down early and he's pushed it forward. Okay, that's a really good dive there. Ball goes down. Oh, there's an arrow. Ball goes down. Come on. Ball goes down early and push. Those type of tries don't make real good highlight reels, but they're worth a point still. So Link's made the touch here. Counties play. And again, we've gone to the line. This is going to be more of a defensive look at this one. So we can see one middle's up, and it looks like he wants this middle. Because when you run a counties, you run the middle link quickie step in. And you receive the ball back, and then you attack the offside player. However, this player is they're sort of shaping towards that eye defense, and that link's going to come and try and make that touch, which is really good from South Africa. There he is. He's made the touch. However, as soon as he moved forward, this player and this player, the two middles, that was their cue to get back on side. So while this link has made the touch, theoretically, if you can get your link to make the touch, you go man on. Link pulls corner. Okay, and now all of a sudden the ball player is playing against onside players, but with the South Africa defense, everything's correct except their middles didn't react and get back on side quickly. So when they do the counties, you can see 1, 2, 3 are still offside. And when you've got that many players offside, well, actually 4's offside as well, you're just going to go and pick your gap, wherever your gap may be. Okay, you won't run like that. That's like a... And there it is there. They're just getting back on side now. This one slips, and he just goes, burrows in underneath them. That's why it's always important. We always talk about the only person that needs to be offside by that much anyway is the person making the touch. They're the only one that must be out there. South Africa with the ball, so they're hitting back. Rooster, quick release, into the hole. Now we'll talk about the time, like we've all seen a Rooster plenty of times, especially if you subscribe to this channel, which thank you very much. We see a Rooster at the middle's going to pull corner, ball carrier who's going to be the first receiver, dummy half pops and gets around, so the first receiver ends up attacking the offside player. And the reason we do a quick release, normally you would run deep into the line and make your decision there, but if you know that this middle is defending really tight automatically, you can give a quick release to this guy on the out, and it turns out to be the same sort of fashion as an out ball. While their momentum is going in to cover this Rooster, to cover that middle lane, you then hit with the quick out ball, and it pretty much catches them off guard with the momentum. So there's the quick release there. While that was happening, he was flat-footed. So all of a sudden, he's got to start from a complete standstill to catch this player who was already running, which is near impossible to do. This link here is just running a nice hole with the winger keeping the width. This player will run into that gap, engage this defender, and pick the pass. And there it is there. Little Rooster quick release. And you do see Rooster quick releases used in NTL Men's Open. Okay, very effective play. Short side quickie again. And he's got it on the outside. This reiterates the first try with that direct running, with that little... So there's the quickie, middle. Gone to the... He started in good shape, that defender. He's pulling corner. But as soon as that ball carrier decides to run straight, look at him. He's still offside, and he's flattened his feet. Flattened his feet. And as soon as he does that, the square running all of a sudden takes a detour this way. And the reason he would go this way is because it's a 3-on-2. 1, 2 with the winger. Rather than a 4-on-3. A 3-on-2 is just so much easier. But because there's so much space here between the middle and the link, he can just dive and score the try, which is what he does next. There it is. And you might say that's unlucky for the player to slip over, which in a way it is. But it's just a little tiny lapse and broken policy there that you need to make sure that you're pulling your corner all the way until you get onside. The only time you'd ever worry about going back in is if the ball's completely gone the other way. So we've got another Rooster quick release. Bit of a carbon copy off the last one. Again, I like this play. There's the Rooster. Now you can see this player here is starting to go in to protect the player pulling short side and the lane that the middles are going to give. And this link is really close as well. So they're getting ready to shut down the play. And he gives a quick release to someone who is already running. So it's a nice play. If the middles are really wide, you just run a normal Rooster and you try and score in between them. You can catch him off guard. And this time the winger comes in. Okay, he's actually in a nice spot here. The only place I'd be is just a little bit further off the line. That way, if he does try and do a bullet pass, you have the opportunity to catch it. But there's not much you can do in a big 2-on-1 like that. Rooster quick release. It's a good game. France have got the ball now. Another short side quickie. Quarterback. I must have used the replay on this because it was on slow motion. Let's have a look at that. We just released, actually, our most recent video on the channel is about the quarterback and when to do it. And this is a perfect opportunity to do it because we did see France get a couple of tries already using a short side quickie. So this time, they've noticed that South Africa have started to really protect that inside lane. Now the same thing with a quick release. We do a play like this when the middles are super tight. Because while this guy's pulling corner, while this guy's pulling corner, it means he is moving away. He's moving towards the short side. So this middle here, no matter how good his pre-touch was, he's still got to shift this way if he really wants to get tight and protect that middle channel. So there's the quarterback there. So the dummy half will pass. And I was recently told, I can't remember the person's name that commented, but quarterback came from the name QB, obviously, but QB came from quickie back or quickie bounce, which makes total sense, and I can't believe I didn't think about that, but thank you very much for telling me. So there's the quickie. All the momentum's going in, and all of a sudden we bounce or go back this way against the grain and just catch the other middle off guard. So you can see him trying to turn while this guy's already running. Very difficult. And there's the short pass there. So that's a quarterback. Another play to do if you've got really tight middles. And a lot of plays come down to that, whether or not the middles are tight. You've got certain plays that you want to run, whether the middles are loose or tight. A lot of it comes down to that. So, just me talking to myself. I have completely missed what this was. So, is that an ML? I got a feeling this was. Okay, let me just count. I'm a bit confused here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So middle are there. Let's see what this is. Okay, so it's a rooster, but it looks like it's just being done on the wrong player. So when running, so you're shaping for the rooster, you want to go down for this player here, and he's going to be dummy half. You need to be on the middle that's closest to the person you want to be dummy half. Now, if you can see that coming as a defender, yeah, sometimes you might send the other middle up in what was called, we call it be brave, and make the touch on the other side. So that when they try to attack this player here, who's normally offside, he can step up and make the touch. But it seems here they've just done it on the wrong side. Which what I'd do here, let's say we're at this point, and I'm this middle, or I am the coach, and we're versing France again later in this tournament, and this is what they're doing. They're sending a middle up. We want to run a rooster, but they're sending the other middle over to try and stuff that rooster up. Okay, all of a sudden now, if I was this player, I'd call an out ball. I'd take off this way, and off the deck, I'd just rip him an out ball. And I can guarantee that if you rip someone an out ball, you're going to beat the toucher for speed. Okay, so again, he's trying to run the rooster, but he's going into that onside player who can step up. But what it looks like is this link just comes too far in and just leaves a hole open. So just a bit of a defensive error there, which you don't really blame them too much for that, because with that middle double touching, or whatever you want to call it, it can be very confusing to actually know if you're on the short side or not, because technically, while the rooster was run on that side, he was an open side player, so you can understand him coming in to hit like that. Do we have a quarterback with a long pass? I think we did, and they've called it. Okay. So again, we've got a really tight, so he's going to make, well, I think he's going to make the touch on there, but you can notice our open side is really tight. There's a lot of space there. All right, so we've run the quickie on this middle, And if you wanted to run a short side quickie and step this way, you needed to run it on the other middle. But if you step this way, all of a sudden it becomes a reverse quickie, which normally that's like in this shape I probably wouldn't do it. But if you can get the ball like that and identify that these guys are super tight, the toucher should have been pulling short side and these guys should be moving away from the play to man on. But because they're coming inwards, it opens up for a quick release and a long ball. So it's not really technical, that one, but if you do step the wrong way, just going back to it, another reason probably stepping that way would have been better. I know they've scored the try here, but there's a lot more space on the far side. If you step to try and get a 4-on-3 this side, there's just not a lot of space, plus you've got two teammates. So just looked like they got a bit lost there trying to get their play in the middle of the field. So now it's 5-4 to France. Here we go. Another short side quickie. So this is good. Just going back a little bit, and we'll talk about the defender here. He's trying to be brave and make that double touch. So it looks like this defender here in the middle thinks that this guy is going to be the one that's dumping the ball and the one that's being the ball player. So he wants to send him to the wrong side. However, while he comes up, this guy's smart enough to stay away from it because he knows that if he gets the ball and the toucher commits, he can just run and they've got a 3-on-2 there. So he stays a little bit wide. There's the pass, but now the touch is coming across, which is probably what he wants to do. But now, if you look at the toucher's momentum, when he makes the touch, he's already pulling a hard corner. Because he had to chase the play over, he's pulling a hard corner, which is pushing everyone this side. And when you pull a hard corner, this guy has to react and pull just as hard. Otherwise, the gap is extended in the middle, this one here. And because his reaction might not have been as good, or in training they don't pull corners normally that hard, the gap in the middle just ever so slightly extends. Because he's pulling a corner so hard he can't recover in the middle, he just slips over and we just dive in the middle. So just one of the disadvantages, I guess, about sending one middle up and trying to do all the work. Like, it can work. I'm hoping to get a video about some eye defense sort of stuff and what's good and bad about it, but it's very hard to find good defense online because all the highlights and everything I watch are all of tries. Defensive highlights don't usually make a video clip. So we got 3-on-3 now, which I don't know about the Atlantic Youth Cup, but from where I'm from, we have 4 players each, played 2 minutes, and if the scores are still level after that 2 minutes, we drop to 3-on-3 for the remainder of the game, and it's just whoever scores next. So it's a nice little splitter. So we have a look at that. I'm going to go through that play here. So we have a sweeper, or sort of. No, I'm not going to go through that play because it's way too far out and it's 3-on-3 and they make the dump on the far guy. But what I will say is anytime you want to make a dump in a 3-on-3 situation, do your best to get this guy. Because once you beat him, it's a 2-on-1 either side. If you make it on one of the edge guys and you beat them, it's 3-on-2. Still doable, yes, but a 2-on-1 is so much easier. So when I say that, as a defender, if you're in the middle, do your best not to make touches. Let him have that 3-on-2. Alright, so let's fast forward a little bit. Oh yeah, you didn't know I could fast forward. Actually, that was the winning try. Something's happened here. Oh yeah, so I didn't do a very good job of cutting up the 3-on-3, so we'll just have to watch the whole thing. I think I apologise if this is boring you. I do have the fast forwards on. Okay, here we go. Some late switches. 90s players would be very, very happy seeing this sort of stuff. This is the way touch football used to look back in the 90s when they used to play 7-a-side. So the idea of a late switch, it's very underutilised. So the idea of late switch is the person in the middle is going to run super hard this way and get his defender to run super hard with him, while one player comes underneath and catches this guy off balance, hoping to come around and get a 2-on-1 on the other side. But really good defense and recovery, reading that play from the middle. A lot of work to do there chasing those. He's done extremely well, that number 10 in the middle. That's just a bit of a late switch for you, but really the only time you want to really do late switches is if it's the last play and you have 6-on-6, it's man on. Oh, here, this might be the last try. Oh, it's a late switch. Kind of unnecessary, but that's the winning try there to South Africa. Okay, so we see that the South Africa players, this must be the last touch, so they've all just made a beeline to the sub box to get some fresh legs on in defence, which is a great move. I have no problems with that. But what I don't like is, and I say this all the time, especially on last, is we don't have a defender rush up. I normally wouldn't say that at any time, especially that far out from the line. If the play of the ball is there, that close to the line, yeah, rush the dummy half, see if you can get the ball back. But while you're running super fast forward, very, very easy to step around you. If you're moving slow and someone moves, you can do that and chase them, or they go this way, you can go like that. But if you're moving really fast forward, all of a sudden your angle of turn is just much more narrow. So as you can see there, as soon as he goes sideways, it buckles his legs because he's just gone so fast forward. And now, making a beeline here, 2-on-1, this player's trying to come across in cover, as you would. And they just run under. And that was just a case of too much space to cover. Only a 2-on, it was a 2-on-1 there with a late switch was perfect. But the best coaching point there is just don't rush up. Even if they do sub like that, on the last, whatever, stay with your team, absorb what they have to do. You'll eventually get the touch. It might not be super quick, but there was no rush there. I understand you're trying to get the ball back quickly while they're getting subs. They only had 2 on the field. But yeah, just do your best not to rush up. I know how tempting it is. But yeah, it's just another policy thing. But thanks very much for watching. This is a really, really good game. Congratulations, South Africa. It's really good to see more nations starting to play some really quality touch football, and credit to France as well. They played really well. So looking forward to seeing these guys hopefully play at next year's World Cup in England. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.